Hi, and welcome to Insights in Straight Talk. I'm your host, Rod Duff, and I'm sit here every day alongside producer Barbie.
Hello, everyone.
How is your day today, Ms. Producer Barbie?
It is absolutely lovely.
Yes.
Another wonderful day in the neighborhood.
It is. Things are giving us a good moderate temperature today. It's been either really hot or rainy. I did it again.
Cloudy.
Cloudy. Yes.
No sunshine.
No sunshine. What?
Can you sing that?
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Only darkness when she's away. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. And she's always gone too long. Anytime she goes away. All right.
Wow. I'm impressed. I didn't know you knew that song.
Oh, yeah. I practice with that song. It's one of my favorite songs, yeah.
What'd you practice for?
Vocals, you know.
Really?
Yeah, that was.
You're a high.
No, I don't want to do any. Let's.
Just one.
I'm not a high. That's not my range.
Oh.
I'm not high.
Well, we can debate that a little later.
All right. So today, let's talk about what we're all about. Okay. You agree, Producer Barbie?
I agree. Why don't you tell us what we're all about here?
What we are all about is the middle part of America, the great middle, I like to say, because the great middle either talks economically or politically. They're both the same and basically made up by the same groups. In that, there is a lot coming up, and we're here opening conversations. We need you to come and ask questions and give answers and be part of the conversation. It makes for a better show. I mean, Barbie and I love to talk and we love chatting to each other, but starting on the 17th, we're going to start going live. And it's important that at that time we have people, and I'm already getting a lot of people. By the way, we got another subscriber today. You saw that? That was good. We're not gigantic and don't pretend to be, but we have to start somewhere. And this show is a place that we start talking across whatever barriers or boundaries that are there. We talk across religions, and we must talk across races and financial acumen. We must talk across all those fields. There's a couple reasons I'm really concerned about the direction, the pose that things are going, the direction that things are going. One is that we're all divided, and the less that a community talks or a society talks, the more it dissolves, and that's one thing. But there's also a Daisy. No, you're sitting there scratching her. Yeah, don't forget. Okay, what were we talking about? I always get off those things.
As a society,
the less that a society communicates, the more that it dissolves. That alone is a real and present danger. While that community isn't talking, its public leaders or its public officials can have more sway, because conquer and divide, divide and conquer. Then you add the additional aspect that our world is changing dramatically and quickly and at a speed that we've never experienced before. The Jetsons are coming, everybody. If you remember that show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is all this is all very good. But if we don't have our politicians in line, in other words, if our politicians aren't making their decisions based on the best for middle Americans, then it's really going to be a problem as AI and automation come into play, because the world will move very, very quickly. And if we don't have our politicians underhand and doing what they're supposed to be doing, this is not going to benefit. You know, I've always talked about a utopia on Earth. It's really close. But if we don't get together and communicate and talk and agree that, you know, if you're a family or if you're a single person, no matter where you live or what your ethnicity is, you have the same concerns as everybody else around you. The big things, you know, the big problems that we face in society. So that has never been fixed. None of that. As a matter of fact, as the more government gets involved in any one thing, whether it be race relations or the school system or the military more recently, any of those things has always gotten less useful for the American people. Whether they're better or worse, they are not improving the lives of middle Americans. We don't care about the 1%, the supposed elite. We need to focus right now because times are changing. And as they're changing, if we don't have control of our politicians, we're in very, very tenuous times. A1.
Can I ask you something?
Oh, yeah.
You keep saying if we don't have control of our politicians. When have we ever had control of our politicians?
Absolutely great point.
They control us.
That's exactly the point. That's exactly the point. We don't have control of our politicians. Yes, we vote them in, but we do it mindlessly. And what we are asking to come together about is to have that mind be filled.
Yeah, when people go to the voting polls and they're reading names on the card, they're just voting off a party. They're
Straight down party line.
and a name, and they know nothing about that name that's on that party that they're voting and what that person stands for and some of their beliefs and past policies.
And that's never going to change until we get what we're doing right now up and running. I mean, people do want to start talking now. We need to create those channels, because you're right. We do not have any control over our lives, much less the politicians. And as life changes, literally everybody will have a robot. Everything will be automated. The cost of goods and services will go down to next to nothing. There should be a a comfortable, minimal living standard for every citizen in America.
But can we stay on the voting part though, instead of going off into the education? Because the voting part is very important. People are going in, this is an important election, and people are going in and they're voting without any knowledge of the people that they're voting for. They're voting off of a feeling or off a name because they like a person's name, and that's voting ignorantly.
Or a commercial they saw.
Or a commercial. And people are not going in educated and well armed with knowledge to make a proper vote.
And that's exactly why we need to do this show, because people will repeat their action.
Shouldn't that be against the law? If you're not qualified to vote.
Oh my God, I love some of the things you say.
If you're not shouldn't there be a qualification? I mean, we're voting in people that are running our country, making life decisions, not only for us, but future generations. And we're just given the right to vote to anyone without any knowledge, and they're voting for names just to say that they voted and to get a sticker. I mean, there should be some sort of basis or some sort of credentials in order to vote. Like, you should have a knowledge of what you're voting for.
Well, you should at least have a identification that you are the person voting.
Okay,
We don't
yeah.
even have that,
Okay,
much less having people attain a certain degree that,
Well-
for voting.
We have to have a driver's license to drive, to sit behind a car. We have to know the laws and,
That's
what
because you
make the
can
right
kill,
choice.
that's because you can kill other people.
Well, voting, we can kill our society, and we're killing the future of our world.
Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you join on of the topic that we're at?
Well, you
'Cause
get me fired up.
I know, but you keep going back to voting.
Because we didn't.
Can I
address
finish?
it.
You keep going back to voting, and what we really need to do is get people together, a watch party, so that they're educated when it's time to vote. We need to push
Hey, people, before you vote, please do your research. Before you go down to the voting booth, understand who these people are, what they represent, who they stand for, and what their vision of our future is for your children, for your grandchildren.
the people that are running, no matter what side of the aisle they're on, they are accountable to the American citizens. They are accountable to the 100th degree. When people vote, they just randomly pick a name, as you were saying.
And that's so wrong.
It is so wrong. What we need to do is we need to,
That's like pin the tail on the donkey.
yeah, it is. What we need, I'm telling you, the way to make this happen is that thing did you see what I put on LinkedIn yesterday with the hashtag watch party
Oh, yeah.
challenge?
Yeah.
Uh,
That producer Barbie suggested.
yes,
Yes, I've seen it.
yes. I think that's something we need to talk about all the time is a hashtag watch party. And the reason I say that is because if there's 10 people in a room watching,
I think you should be qualified to vote.
I don't.
I do.
I don't.
Because then you have people walking in that have no knowledge of what they're voting for. They're just walking in, picking names, and that can hurt the direction of our country.
Well,
Voting
no.
aimlessly.
That's why we're in the direction we're in. But now all of a sudden, see, now you're going to get, okay, we're in America, right? Land of the free. If
And
you,
home of the brave.
and you, if you force people to get a degree or some certificate in order to vote, there is a very, very, very high chance for fraud to occur there. Because who would give out the information, right? It'd be the government, right? It'd be a governmental.
I think we would have more substance behind our voting, knowing that people have
Take
been
it a little
qualified
deeper.
to vote.
If you force people to get qualified to vote, and
Educated.
somebody knows that these 10 people are Republicans, the administrators could be failing those people. There's a very, very good chance for fraud. But you just said the key word, educated. This is what and join me in this. This is what we're talking about. It's assumed already that people need to vote. Now what we need to have is we need to have people that want to get educated, that want, because you're never going to do something unless you're interested or see what the value is for you, right? So the voting is already an assumption. That's why we're here talking. The action, in my opinion, is to create watch parties, meaning half a dozen to a couple of dozen people of random beliefs on either side of a position or a person or a political party, and then listen to different shows or facts on different things. Each one of those things will be told differently by one party or the other. We need to have people seeing that on both sides and then talking to each other about it. That then becomes an educational system brought on by the people and for the people. We need to do this. And it's not that there's an election coming up in November. That's obviously very important. But we need to do this very, very quickly because the world is going to change. And if the world has changed by the time before we have our politicians having actions and decisions about only bettering the U.S., if we don't get a handle on our politicians, it could be very, very devastating because the utopia is we should be able to, in 20 years, not have to ever work again, or less than that. There'll be robots in everybody's household. Like I said, the Jetsons are coming. That's not hopeful, and I mean, look at it. It's happening. It's already happening. But it's going to happen quicker and quicker and quicker, just like when the cars came on. There weren't any cars, and then there were a few cars, and then there were cars in everybody's household. Just like in the 80s when the internet came on and changed the world. Computers, home computers. Everybody had a computer in their home. That was 40 years ago now, right? 80s, right? 44 years ago. We have to come together right now. Over me. We've got to do it right now. I mean, I don't want to say the sky is falling, but it is. It's set to, and right now every political high-ranking person in the know, they're already setting themselves up for when this does occur. If we're in the middle class, not set up when this occurs and not having the politicians under our prowess, then we will not get the utopia on earth. There'll be some way that we will not benefit the way in equality benefit the way that the politicians do, and the 1%. So there's a lot of information out there. We need to start talking about it. Forget about what did I learn on, just getting the news off of this channel or that channel or this channel. We need to talk to each other about that and get opinions. The news, they call them talking heads and talking points. We need to be beyond the talking heads and the talking points are the hello. Then we need to have the talk. I've run out. I've run out here. Where are we at? 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Do you want to say? Was that a good little segment there?
Yeah. I think so.
Did it address the voting and all that?
No, I think you broad brushed it.
Well, I don't get what you're trying to come to, because basically 60% of Americans vote, up and down on that from election to election.
Do they even know what they're voting for?
No, and that's why I'm trying to get this channel going, and why I keep trying to do this watch party thing, so that people will talk to each other about and become educated on each of those different officials or their decisions. So when you say voting, that's an assumed. That's already there. We we need people to vote with a full head, with information, with details, with Randy's terrible and Sheila's great, and they're right for it. And you know that because you talk to 10 other people and you all kind of agree and watch that news together. And 90,000 people, fans, come together in a football stadium every Sunday or whatever the number is. Why can't we have watch parties? Why can't we?
Have watch parties, but not just, about what this person says either. They're talking about the importance of
News of the day.
Of AI, coming into the world. And I said the power, of knowledge is just going to be incredible to have that. People have to do their own research. Yes, talking and connecting with people, sharing visions.
Pause. By the way, what you're saying now, they don't need us for that. We still want to be a little selfish here and communicate. But that's why you keep communicating.
We're communicating that people need to step into their own power by using the tools that are out there for us to become better people, to become a better society. It's not taking away from us at all. It's just people, instead of aimlessly voting or aimlessly walking through life, we have each other to lean on to bounce visions and ideas and support. As human beings, we all need support. We need to feel connected with one another. That's never going to go away. That's something that actual AI can take away from society, is that human connection.
Well, like the COVID did.
But the human connection
That's where it started.
Is important, but we just can't rely on human connection to get our information. We have to rely on the internet, on the AI tools that are out there.
How many people above the age of 50 do you think know all about a good amount about a working knowledge of what AI does?
Well, that I don't know. And
I gotta guess it's going to be.
Watch parties come in for the education,
Yeah.
for human interaction, to share ideas of where to get your information.
Right.
But don't just, it's like us, if we rely on just one news source, that's all the information we're going to have.
Well,
We can't limit ourselves
and that's
to
a
just
key.
people.
And that's a key. It's more than one news source. And that's a key. It's more than just one news source you should be getting your information from, right?
Right.
I mean, if you're only watching CNN and MSNBC, then you're getting a whole different bunch of facts than if you're watching Fox or Newsmax,
No spin news.
It'll be a totally different set of facts. I'm not saying which one is right,
Sure.
or which one is not only better but right, but
But you have to do your research and educate yourself on which one you want to stand behind.
well, and you have to talk to other people and what are their thoughts. I don't believe, since the COVID came, we've quit relying on each other. We used to go to our neighbors and ask for help and ask, hey, what do you think about this or that or this or that, or go to our family members. That needs to be it's not okay to do that now because we're all isolated and we're all afraid to talk to each other because if one person believes in one thing, then the other person doesn't like him anymore. We need to quit that. The most important thing is for us getting together, communicating with neighbors and acquaintances. I don't mean getting everybody's Kool-Aid, but we need to communicate because that's what's going to make Middle America strong. And if Middle America is strong, then the United States of America is healthy. And if neither of those things are true, take your pick, socialism or communism. That's the direction. That's the linear path we're on. But what the interesting twist to me is this AI is, within the next couple of years, you're going to remember these statements. My son, he's in his 40s. He's a genius at that stuff. 20, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, to a degree, are going to be beautiful, dialed into this thing and take full advantage. But what about the aging Americans? What about those that are 50 and up? In the next 5, 6, 7 years, we need to have those conversations about that. Not by the people who are selling us on AI, but between each other. What do you know about it? What does your son say? We have to become educated beyond the media outlets. The criticality of it is to have the news from the media outlets and then to verify that with your neighbors and friends and people of the other side of the aisle. That's the only way we're going to get control of our politicians in these United States. We hire them to go there and do it, but we don't know who they are.
Yeah. Yeah,
You good?
yeah, I'm good.
All right, let's, 26 minutes, let's make it a wrap.
Okay. All right, everybody, thank you for joining. This is going to be a wrap for today. Hope we got your wheels turning.
Doot, 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 doot. Hey, I'm Rod Duff, producer Barbie. We both say hello, good evening, have a great night. And by the way, start talking to people. Start talking.